Wait. Guess what's coming to dinner? Guess what's coming to dinner? Guess what's coming to dinner?
Just polish that off. It's fine.
Yes,
Yeah.
please take it.
Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Guess What's Coming to Dinner. That was your line, but
It was my line.
yeah, but you looking around like
I know.
She had something to say. Polish that off. Go ahead, finish your
Well,
statement.
I was talking to Salome about
Oh, y'all
the
gonna drink the
wine.
last of the white wine?
Oh,
Dude, that was my fault. I was greedy. I'm sorry.
no,
You're the
it
best.
is not.
Don't
no,
apologize.
You can have some
no.
wine.
This is what happens when we start drinking before the show. Hello, everybody. I'm Michael Dwayne Paylor. I'm one of the hosts of Guess What's Coming to Dinner. I'm joined by the lovely...
we always do
I know
this.
every time.
Hi guys, my name is Salome Danoon.
Hello, I am Dara Lashley. And we are joined by the lovely Julia Anonymous.
Half anonymous.
Yes, Julia, half anonymous. I will not say her full government because
First anonymous guest.
we have an agreement. Yes.
Yes.
Appreciated.
Yeah.
Appreciated.
Yeah.
I'm going to pixelate your face, and I'm going to make your voice real deep like
Gosh,
this.
it's,
Oh
it's
my
so
God.
hard to have to be anonymous. You know, it's just like being famous. It's just really hard.
Yeah.
You wanna be
I
famous?
understand. It's not the goal.
Not at
Well,
all.
It's not really the goal, but
I mean, I don't know. I guess it could be cool, but it seems like it causes a lot of problems.
Does.
A lot of anxiety, I would say.
Yeah.
We talk about it almost every episode, but
Really?
none of us want to be famous.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But apparently...
Well, it's too bad because you guys all will be. So
oh, thank you for the blessing.
Julia, I
deal
know.
with it. Okay.
Thank you.
And speaking of
Yep.
blessings, this meal looks really wholesome.
Oh, thank you.
It's so wholesome, like I want to pray. Like when I saw it, I was like, oh, this is like a family dinner.
no.
But I can't wait to dig in.
I can't either. I'm
Yes, it
so
looks
excited.
delicious. I haven't tasted it yet, but I'm
lot.
very excited.
Thank you.
lie.
Thank you for calling him out on that one. So can
Bowl
you
is
tell
full.
us the name of this dish and
Yes.
things about it?
Absolutely. So, this is a dish that is from Naples, Italy, which is a city in the south of Italy in the region of Campania. And it's where my mom's from. So she immigrated here from there when she was 26 after she met my dad, who was doing medical school in Italy. He was from Brooklyn, but he went over there for medical school.
Wow.
And there's also a dialect in Naples. So it's like Italian, but it's like a different language. So in that region, it's called something a little different. So if you were to name this in Italian, you would say pasta e fagioli, which literally means pasta and beans. The Neapolitan word for it, or phrase for it, would be pasta e fazool. So
Fazool.
yeah, fazool.
I feel like you gotta
Fazool.
go like
I know.
this.
Fazool.
Yes. Yes. So I think Neapolitan is like hilarious. I don't know what it is about it, but and basically this is kind of what's called like peasant food because it's made out of very affordable ingredients. Basically like, you know, back in the day, obviously, you know, meat was expensive, so like you'll see this doesn't have any meat in it. If a family were a little bit more fortunate, they might buy pancetta, which is like it's kind of like bacon, but it's like uncured. So like that would be part of it. But for now, it's just beans, olive oil, garlic, tomatoes.
Wow. And it looks so
Some of my favorite things.
Yes.
Yeah.
So excited.
So you grew up cooking with your parents? Like when did you start actually cooking?
Yeah, I kind of grew up like watching them and helping. And then at some point, my mom went to work full time. And so she would come home a little later. So my dad and I would be in charge of like cooking. So this was one of the things we would cook because it is super, super easy. So I'm also like trying to advertise this for everyone.
No, I watched
easy.
you make it. It is pretty
It's
easy.
cheap. It's fast, and it's pretty nutritious. You know, you have your protein, you have your vegetables, kind of with the tomato. You have your carbs. You know, it's filling. It saves well.
It looks
You can
filling.
reuse it. You know, you can like save it over.
Yeah.
So personally, I think it's a great mix of things.
So at what age would you say you started cooking?
Ooh, that's a good one. I don't know. I mean, I think I was like cooking more when I was like probably like 15 or 16. I was helping way before that, but like I would like start the meal to help my dad out probably at like 15 or 16.
It's kind of late.
It is. It is. I was very blessed because my mom would cook for us.
Yes.
I mean, it is kind of late. You kind of looked at me weird.
I mean, is it that late?
But it's a good meal because, I mean, I probably started cooking earlier, but I was cooking like oodles and noodles. Not the same dish.
What do you need?
I want the Parmesan.
Yeah. Yeah, so my mom.
Thank you.
I was telling Michael like my mom understandably lets us know if something is not traditional, you know. So like Parmesan is great. It's not a traditional additive, but I brought it. No, I brought it because I think it's good.
Yeah.
So, what else can I say about this dish?
It's so good.
Thank you. I'm glad you guys
Thank
like
you
it.
delicious.
so much. Yeah.
I used to
you-
bring. I'm sorry. What?
No, I was asking, did you see like my expression when I took the first bite? That's how you know something is good. Like you gotta watch from like the first bite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't see your expression,
Wow.
but
Yeah.
I trust. I trust you are telling me the truth because it is such a basic dish. Like for a little bit, I was like, you know, looking at what other people made when they came on this podcast, and I was like, oh, like this is kind of basic, but you know,
This is way
No,
better than fufu.
This is great.
what's that?
Michael, you know what?
Oh my
Before-
gosh.
Do you know how, yeah, do you know how things work here, Julia? So we start with like a random fact of the episode, and before we whoop Michael's ass, we're gonna go into that. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay, so the random fact today is New York was briefly named New Orange. In 1673, the Dutch captured New York from the English and dubbed it New Orange in honor of William III of Orange, which I have no idea who that is actually. However, the city reverted to English control and its former name the following year. I'm happy about that because New Orange just sounds weird. I love the New York.
Yeah,
you know?
I agree.
New York.
It could have been the big orange.
The big
Instead
apple
of the Big
is
Apple.
so much better.
Yeah, it's
though.
so
That's
much
a good
better.
one.
And then that means Michael Jackson would have had to change his song. You know, he says,
yes. Human
if
Nature.
if this town be an apple, then he couldn't have like taken a bite of the orange.
Take a bite.
Yeah. So
And they say why? Why?
I know the song. I didn't know he was talking about New York in it.
Oh
at any
yeah.
point.
That's exactly what he's talking
Just say
about.
you-
Take a bite
like
out
the
of
beat.
an orange.
It would be nasty.
Ugh.
yeah.
No.
Whatever. I'm not a big fan of New York, to be honest, because I grew up in New Jersey, Jersey City, and New Yorkers are arrogant. They would come over and they would talk smack about New Jersey.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they would talk about, oh, you guys are corny, you're cornballs, everything's closed. It's like 2:00 in the morning. Yeah, everything's closed.
It's weird because when I met you, I was like, he has an accent, and it sounds like New York, but it's not.
It's not.
It's North Jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I guess I didn't know.
South Jersey has an accent. I didn't know
Yeah.
about them until I got close. They sound weird. They sound like the first time I heard someone from South Jersey, I thought they were from like Wisconsin.
Oh,
Like the way they say home is different. It's like
How do they say
home. I don't know. Home. Yeah, I can't even do it.
Home. Home. Okay.
I mean, maybe. I mean,
I'm from South Jersey. I don't know.
you don't really sound like you're from South Jersey though.
Yeah, my mom made sure of that.
Julia,
Can you pass me the cheese
So-
again, please?
what got you started in acting? Like, what inspires you to become an actor?
Good question. I used to act when I was really young, and it was like a great outlet for me. I was like pretty, quiet, but I would just like get on stage, or like at home my sisters and I used to make like home videos where I would like be a different character and we would like improvise and like
That's
just
awesome.
goof around. Yeah, so it felt very like freeing. And then like I think it was like in middle school I started not getting parts. Like I would audition, I wouldn't get parts at school, and so I would feel really discouraged. And then at one point I was just like, I guess I'm not good enough, and I just stopped. So I was also into other stuff like singing, and I played clarinet for a while, so I was doing other stuff. I did like some like backstage stuff. I did stage management. I directed a one act in high school, which was really fun.
Wow.
That's awesome.
But thank you. I think I just lost confidence with acting, so I gave it up for a while, and then my dad actually passed away in 2018, and it kind of inspired me to return to something that like I was passionate about. Just because I think losing someone really makes you think about how short life is and how precious it is. So I came back to it at Playhouse, and yeah, it was amazing.
Nice.
I feel like I'm in a kind of an in-between place right now, trying to figure out kind of what I want to do. I'm thinking about starting a family with my husband, so like I'm trying to negotiate sort of like how to balance that.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome.
yeah.
So you talked about your dad like passing, but your dad inspired your film enough. So why was making enough important to you? And was it something that you always had in mind to do? You know?
Yeah, I feel like, honestly, I didn't think about doing it until pretty shortly after the film challenge got announced. I don't know, it just felt like the right time because it was around the like anniversary, and also like my dad, he's buried in Maryland, so like I grew up there, so like unfortunately I don't have a car and I don't really like go there very often, so I felt like I wanted to like make a trip, and I was just brainstorming like how do I integrate this into a movie. And I was really fortunate because I kind of just like brought it up to my friend Ryan Irving, who's in Playhouse, and he texted me like a few days after being like, hey, like I'm really interested in like helping you create something out of this, like would that be okay? And it was just so nice to have like an invitation from someone who like sees value in an idea, because I think it's just hard to sometimes be confident in things that are new, obviously, and things that are so personal. So I felt super, super grateful for that support.
Yeah. It was really beautiful. I was sitting in front of you, and it just felt like this energy, and I had to turn around and like look at you, and it felt like it was something so important, and like you were really proud of getting it done. So I'm really happy for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So has acting like helped you grieve losing, like helping you like the grieving process with your
Yes,
dad?
that is such a good question, or comment. Yeah, because like I know you guys have probably, I don't know if you've done them yet or heard of them or whatever, but the character fantasies or not. So I guess there's character fantasies and the other ones that are just fantasies. But the first one I did, I imagined my dad kind of being on stage with me, like as like after he had passed. So I don't know, like I guess the idea was like he was visiting me and I was able to talk to him, and I just like cried a lot. But it was really helpful because I see the stage as like such a protected space in a weird way, even though it is public.
Yeah.
It feels private and public at the same time. Like it's like there's like a lot of like intimate moments on stage that feel protected in a way, because it's like you're on stage, especially with fantasies, like you're alone on stage. So I think it did help me, and I think the film helped me because I think one of the things I was struggling with was kind of the depression that comes after losing someone, and how, you know, I think I had already been struggling with depression for most of my life, and then, you know, it got worse when I was grieving. And so I think just this theme around like being enough and being willing to put yourself out there even if it's not perfect, and like be willing to reap the rewards of being vulnerable is like super, super hard, but also super, super important. So I think it helped me do that, in spirit of my dad, because I think there were a lot of ways where he didn't feel like he was enough, and so he didn't really get to enjoy a lot of the fruits of his labor.
Yeah.
So
how do you deal with grief? And so this question comes in like two parts, right? How do you deal with grief? And then like what would you tell somebody who's dealing with grief right now? And then what would you tell someone, because for me, my parents are getting older, right? They're like in their 60s. And most days I feel like, oh my gosh, I don't have much time left. And sometimes I'll visit like my uncles and stuff, and I'll be like, I don't have much time left. And it's a scary thought to know that all your life, you've known these people. And one of these days, these people that you've known your entire life, you have to go on without them. So what would you tell someone who's dealing with grief, and what would you tell someone like me who's really struggling, knowing that one day this is going to happen? There's nothing that you can do to get around it. Yeah.
yeah, it's tough. There's something called anticipatory grief, which sounds like what you're describing, where it's like grieving. You don't just grieve when you lose someone to death. Grief is a bigger part of life than I think most people want to admit. And then on top of that, I think anticipatory grief, it's like we're all aware, we don't like to think about it probably, but we're all aware that like we're all mortal and that we have a finite amount of time. So I think sometimes it's also like when we think about other people's mortality, we think about our own. So I guess I just like to remind people that that is layered into this, even if it's not necessarily something you're like super conscious of. Be compassionate with yourself, because this is a big thing that we are dealing with as humans, a big thing to wrap our heads around.
I think I experienced what you're talking about when I was a child, and I was contemplating the idea of reincarnation. And I was in the backyard, I was thinking about, like, what do I want to come back as in my next life? And I couldn't think of anything useful, because I was like, everything's going to die. And then when I thought of that, I thought, oh, my mom's going to die. And then for like the next 2 years, I had that, what was it?
Anticipatory grief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just like, this thing is in front of me, and there's nothing I can do about it. Don't they have like classes for grief? No, not just for grief, but like how to teach a person how to like grieve in a healthy way. Are you familiar with any of those?
Yeah, there's a lot of resources for people to work through their grief and to kind of reconcile with. There are actually also things called death doulas. So it's like kind of people who are trained to help people transition from life to death. which I think is different.
Deaf doula.
Different than what you're talking about. But there's a lot of. I found a lot of support, like even on Instagram. Like Instagram, obviously you have to be careful, like where you're getting your info from, but like it can be a really useful spot. And I think one of the biggest things I learned about grief is that society and maybe other people will tell you that you have to get over it, or you have to move on from it. And the truth is, your grief is basically love, if you think about it. Yeah. Your grief is like love without anywhere to go. So if you lose your grief, you may feel like you're losing your attachment to someone who you love. Yeah. So I don't think that the point is to get rid of the grief. I think the point is to honor it and integrate it to the point where you're not trying to change it, but you are thinking about why it's part of the human experience and why it might be important for you to have rituals around. That's another thing that like I've been learning is like modern day, like we are so removed from having rituals. I think rituals are so important, especially with grief. Like I have, an altar. I think like a lot of people I have looked into and like listened to talk a lot about like ancestor connection and how, you can be like even more connected with a loved one after they pass.
They die, yeah.
Right, yeah. So I feel like I'm kind of rambling, but
No, it's good.
This is great.
One of the things that I think of a lot, I've been fortunate enough to only lose my grandmother, which is like, and even though she's been gone for like 18 years, there are still moments where I wish I can go and like talk to her now as an adult. I could say like, okay, I could have all these conversations with her and say, like, oh, I feel like I'm running out of time, and I know that she'll know exactly what to say, but I feel like this is what I want to tell you, right? Like your dad, as a spirit, right? He could have been anybody in this world, but he was your dad, I'm making a mess, but he was your dad, and I feel like there's joy in knowing that this person could have been anybody, but he was your person, so I feel like we celebrate that as well. That should be like a little sunshine in the darkness.
Yes.
I like the ritual idea.
Yes, it's so important.
What do you do for your ritual? How often?
It's funny because I think it's something I'm still working on. Because like I see a therapist who actually specializes in grief and loss, and she's kind of teaching me that grief is the type of thing that you have to intentionally go towards. And it feels counterintuitive because most of us don't want to feel the pain. So sometimes it is hard to like intentionally sit down with the idea that like, okay, I'm going to do something to remember my dad or grieve my dad. But what I have found is helpful is sitting in front of a picture of him. I have like a picture of him and I when I was like a kid. And I do like to like meditate, journal. I am really into, I know Michael was saying everyone on this podcast talks about astrology.
Yeah.
I do like talking, using astrology, not necessarily to remember my dad, but in some ways I think like I have looked at like his chart before, just to kind of like get an understanding of, who he was and what he might have struggled with. I do sometimes I write letters to him, or in the past, I used to talk out loud to him a lot more. I don't really do that as much, but I definitely feel like he's there in some ways. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what other rituals.
Wow. Do you find yourself doing them like around the anniversary and around like his birthday and like father's, like more often around those times? Or?
Yeah, I would say so. I think like it's really hard because I think what happens for me personally is like when I'm feeling really intense grief, it's very physical too. So I don't know, like I feel like people also don't know. It's like grief is like very physically taxing and exhausting. Yeah. So sometimes it's okay if your ritual to grieve is to like sleep or take a day off or cry on your couch. Like it doesn't have to be this like energetic planned out experience. But yeah, it's really tough with grief too. It's just like there's always an anniversary of something. Like March is the month that he was diagnosed. So when the weather starts getting warmer, I think about like when he was first diagnosed, and then I remember him getting chemo and getting sicker, and just like watching someone know that they're dying and watching them physically waste away is very, very hard to have stuck in your brain. So it's just frustrating because grief, you know, it's just never really over.
Yeah.
It comes in waves, and
I think it's like something you just learn how to live with.
Yeah. Right.
And I don't know if anyone else plays video games, but for PlayStation and Xbox, they give you these useless trophies when you do something. And an icon will appear on the screen and say achievement unlocked. And sometimes we get these achievements, and sometimes it's like grief. And it's like, you got this thing now. You didn't ask for it, but it's yours, and now you have to carry it and hopefully learn how to use it in a healthy way. Well, not use it, but like process it. Sometimes you get clinical depression unlocked, and it's like, oh, who asked for this? But that's life. I mean, you keep getting more and more trophies you didn't ask for. But I don't know. I do have a question.
yes.
You're a therapist, and earlier you said you talk to your therapist. Does your therapist also see regular people, or are all of their clients therapists?
They see regular people
Really?
as well, yeah.
What is a therapy session between two therapists? Like, what is the conversations like?
It's funny because I think it depends on the therapist, but my experience is that it is nice to sort of share. It's like you know that the person kind of gets what you're talking about if you are mentioning how your therapeutic work affects you, or also, like, I think sometimes, at least in my case, like, I think I'm much harder on myself because I'm a therapist. So I think it's nice because, like, they kind of get that. But I do think, like, personally, I don't want to be a therapist in my therapy session. I want to be
A patient.
Julia.
A human, right?
Yeah.
A person, right?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, I am a person. I'm just a person. But yeah, I do sometimes wish there was more spaces for like therapists, because
What do you mean by that?
like support for therapists from therapists, if that makes sense.
You don't feel like there is support?
Maybe I just haven't engaged in them. Maybe there are spaces that I don't know about, but I don't see like, support groups for
Like
therapists or
Facebook
whatever.
groups, chat groups.
Yeah, or, psychologytoday.com has lots of support groups. So sometimes you can search. And, I haven't looked in a while, so maybe there is something that I'm missing. But
You know what? That might be true,
yeah.
because unrelated. And it's just an example on how things change, and we're used to doing something one way for so long that we don't even look up and realize there are better options. I bought some windshield wipers, right? Bought them for a friend. Turned out they were the wrong type. Friend was like, "Oh, actually, Amazon has them. Are these the type?" And I looked at them and I was like, "They sell all 3 windshield wipers on Amazon for $25. You know how much it costs to buy a windshield wiper in the store? One blade. They sell them single. Most times the medium to good ones are like $17 each. Oh, wow. And here they were being sold at a convenient price that will ship to you for years, and I had no idea. And I'm overpaying. Just because I didn't even look up and say, hey, maybe there's another way.
Yeah, I mean, it takes work.
It takes awareness.
Maybe
and
just look
pausing.
on Facebook and find some groups.
Yes,
maybe.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Yeah.
I have a question about you being a therapist. So, do you notice any correlation between therapy and acting?
Ooh, yeah. Good question. I guess I don't really know. I have heard of therapists who are also actors. I don't know any personally, but I do think the fact that acting has a lot to do with empathy. It's like a lot about like putting yourself in someone else's shoes, or like trying to understand how someone could feel or do what they do. Like, I feel like that is definitely something that is in both acting and therapy.
Do you think being a therapist gives you an edge? Do you think you're better than us?
No, maybe at the beginning I was like, oh, I can read people's emotions, I can label the emotions, but it actually was holding me back because Tony would say, like, you're not taking things personally enough. So that's what it doesn't help with, because like as a therapist, you're not supposed to take anything personally because that could be harmful.
Yeah.
So in some ways it was like not as helpful. Because I had to learn to let down my guard in terms of like, oh, I don't want to make this person feel bad. And it's like when we do repetition exercises, like you're supposed to be completely honest and unfiltered.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like both, I guess, both a help and not.
Endurance, yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question. It's just out of curiosity though, because I feel like, but anyway, have you ever been like triggered by a client, and how do you deal with that?
Yeah. I used to work with children and families, and that was especially triggering because I think it just brought up a lot about like my own childhood trauma. And on top of that, I think like when I was working with children and families, I was working in communities in Philadelphia and like in people's homes and with children and families who were pretty much, it was their last resort before their child was placed either in foster care or hospitalized. So it was like very intense and very like sad, and just kind of really opened my eyes to the disparities. Like I would come home and I'd be like, wow, like I live in a different world. Like these children are in a completely different world. So yeah, I think like I had to honestly, kind of move away from that type of work because it was so triggering. I also had just lost my dad. So I think it was like the mix of the two was a lot.
Yeah.
Is that what you meant by the question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like how,
So I thought like maybe a patient tried to curse you out.
Oh yeah, I've been kicked out of people's houses. I've been cursed. I've been reported to the insurance companies because, and it makes sense. It's like that's the other thing, is like to try not to take it personally, because these people are so traumatized and so. I also realized like there's like a racial thing, like, I'm like aware of all these factors that have nothing to do with me, but that makes sense as to why people would be upset. But then my human side is like, oh my God, like I failed these people. Like, yeah. So
a racial thing. Do you, so people who have reported you, has it been because they feel like you don't understand them, or what? I'm sorry, is this
I think
too
that,
personal?
No, that's okay. I think it's part of that. I don't think that maybe it wasn't necessarily like the reason why, but I think that it's may have been part of it. Because like I feel like from what I've found, like there are, at least with the families I worked with, there are cultural differences in terms of like disciplining your kids, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So when you have a social worker, I'm a social worker also. So like you have someone coming in and telling you that you can't do this and that to discipline your child, or you're going to have to call DHS on them. It was just very clear that that was like a cultural and also, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I don't know how to really put it into words, but it's like this
Cultural,
idea
but I
of,
was just thinking,
Yeah.
it might be class as well.
yeah, because white families
Yeah.
hit their kids too. It's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
But rich people don't hardly ever, because they have the
Yeah.
funds to bail them out of prison when they do mess up.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm sorry. I keep
No,
interrupting.
no,
It's
no.
my thing.
I mean, they also have the funds for help too, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Like they have extra help, hands on
Yes,
deck for their
yes.
kids and their family and their home life.
Yeah.
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 It's so interesting because on my way here, I was listening to something. I was listening to church. I'll be honest. I was listening to, like, you know, and the lady got up in the pulpit and she said, she gave a scripture, and the scripture says, the scripture talks about sparing the rod and spoiling your child. And she's in the pulpit and she's talking about, yeah, so you should hit your children. Yeah.
Is that what that means? Spare the rod, spoil.
You know,
Right. Like spare
that's
the rod,
what,
don't hit them.
Like if you don't hit them, they're gonna be
yeah,
spoiled.
that's what,
Okay.
Yeah.
that's what they're saying, right? They're saying that that's what it means. Like the rod is
The
a
whip,
physical rod of correction. But that's not it, in my opinion. And it makes me like really frustrated because we would get our ass handed to us all the time. And that's because we're like Caribbean, and that's the way all we know to do is like hit.
But that doesn't mean it's right.
No, and it's not, and it doesn't mean like I'm very passionate about this. This is why I'm raising my voice, but it doesn't mean that it's a whip. You have to realize that you're raising a person. You're raising a person. It's not like it's a child, right? So you hit this person. You don't know. You're doing like all these psychological things that you're not even aware of. But like if I hit you right now, it's gonna be like a thing. You're gonna be like, what the fuck? Like you hit me. It's gonna be a brawl, right? So why is it okay for you to hit? I'm not gonna hit you. But why is it okay for you to hit a child? That's a person. Because if you talk to them, they'll understand. Also, if you give them like, if you say, hey, okay, for instance, like we used to get hit all the time for like cleaning a room, right? If you go to this child and you say, hey, I need you to clean your room. I need your room to be cleaned before 6 p.m. and it's not done, you say, okay, I need you to clean your room and these are the consequences, right? I'll take your phone, and still you'll still feel the hurt of discipline, and you haven't humiliated them by hitting them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
Michael's like, this is
Michael
new to
is,
me.
I know. Do you hit your children, Michael?
I used
Did
to.
you hit? Yeah.
Not anymore. But
What changed? Why did you stop?
a lot of things changed. I never liked the way it felt. And then I felt like the reason I was doing it is because that's how I was raised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was this shift. I mean, it was at the end of my marriage. And I was like, I felt like I had to do this to maintain peace in the house. But now there's no peace. Like, I was the enforcer. She didn't like to do the disciplining, but discipline had to happen. Without it, there'd be chaos. To your point about talking to children.
Wait, before
and
you
they'll listen.
hold on. Before you say that, can I say something?
He's like, actually, I do
That's
not.
not how that works.
Moms are like, I was really scared of my dad growing up because my mother would always be like, "Oh, wait till your daddy come home."
Yeah.
Why?
Because
But now that I'm an adult, like my
not
dad
right.
is like cool.
and you know what?
You know what I mean?
You know what? I
was
learned.
scared of my dad.
I spoke to my father.
Never.
He was the disciplinary when we were growing up. He did the majority of the spankings, although we called them whoopings because they were something different. And my mom would
Yeah.
use the same thing. When your father gets home, y'all getting your ass whipped. As an adult, I talked to him. It wasn't even about that. He was like, I didn't want to whoop y'all. Like, I was coming home from work. I was tired.
Right.
And to keep her from like being on my back, y'all had to get it. So I didn't get it.
That's usually what it
And
is.
it affected our relationship because I was, one, when I was a kid, I was afraid of him. Once he came home to the door, he would always put his keys on the dresser. So that was kind of like, when you heard that sound,
trigger,
I
yeah.
should be in bed.
Yeah.
So I would stay out of his way. So we never got to form the relationship that we could have potentially had
Yeah.
because there was this void there.
Yeah.
I associated him with discipline and violence.
Yeah.
If he was upset about something else, I already know he's capable of taking a belt and going for like 15 minutes. It felt like 15 minutes. I don't know how long it was, but they were rough. So I heard that conversation. I was like, this whole time you didn't even want to do it. I don't want to do it. My kid, let me tell you something. When I used to do physical discipline, they didn't just stand there and take it. It was a project. They would run. They would lock doors. They would hide under. It was a whole thing. It was exhausting, and I was like, if I don't do it now, I feel like I'm encouraging this type of behavior. It's like they won, and this is what you have to. So it's kind of like back and forth. A game of chess with these people, and then we were outnumbered.
Yeah.
4 of them to 2 of us, and one of us wasn't doing a disciplinary, and they were just buying them ice cream when they didn't deserve it. So it was just so much. But once the marriage had dissolved, I was like, I don't really have a problem with what y'all doing. So if y'all they behave a different way with me anyway. So if y'all gonna respect the rules and boundaries I give you, I'm good. What you do over there is what you do over there. Not my concern.
That's her
anymore.
problem.
And that's what it became. And our relationships begin to flourish.
That's
I
awesome.
feel like I could be myself with them. They can be who they feel comfortable with being with me. And I was like, all right. Sometimes, oh my God, the youngest one.
Oh, he's so
He's
cute.
wild.
How old?
5.
Oh,
And there's this thing, being the 4th, the youngest, you automatically get parented differently. Each kid
yeah.
gets a different parent.
Yes, it's so true.
1000%.
Yes.
By the time I'm the youngest, and I noticed, my dad was like, all right. I had to lay this curfew. I didn't go anywhere because I wasn't social or anything. But my siblings be upset, like, how come he gets to do this? Because they ready to retire from this parenting thing.
Yeah. Over it.
And they expect the other siblings
Right.
to help out. So my youngest, with even a little bit with me, he's a wild boy. I won't say he's bad, but he's like Kanye West. He has all the courage. He will talk so much smack to your face. I'll put him in a corner. I'll move that back. Have him standing in the corner. He be in that corner talking so much smack. I hate this place, Daddy. I can't wait to go back to mama. You know what? This place stinks. And I'm like,
That
yeah,
corner is not working.
it's not working, but he's not leaving the corner. So he can talk all he wants, but
That's
you better
the
not get out the
thing.
corner.
I remember when I used to work with parents on discipline, it was like, they can talk all they want. If they try to leave, you add a minute.
Yeah, I'm not even adding time.
I know, I'm
It's
just
when
saying.
you stop talking smack for like 20 seconds. I'm not going to tell you how long,
Yeah.
but you got to give up before I give up. But
Yeah, totally.
I don't care. I found out when they was driving down to Louisiana, because that's where they live now. He got out of the car seat or whatever and tried to open the door while they're on the freeway.
Oh my God.
I mean, that's the type of behavior he's doing over there.
Oh.
So it's like, that's what no discipline looks like versus somewhat structured. But I went on a tangent. But
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's
I think, what was the
hard.
original thing? Oh, kids don't listen. Oh, you want to take cell phones from them? Do it. Take the cell phones, take the PlayStations, take every screen. If they don't want to form,
Yeah.
they're not gonna do it. They're people. I did watch this one TikTok once that said, once your kids get to a certain age, you're not really parenting them. You're more just advising them.
Yeah.
Guiding them.
Yeah, like you get a 14-year-old.
Which, let me tell you, black parents, forget about it.
What do you mean?
they feel like they can control. Caribbean parents, they think
It
they
ain't just
can,
Caribbean.
Yeah. Yeah, they feel like they can
Even
tell
as an
you,
adult, right?
Yeah, what you can do for the rest of your life, like Miss.
It's funny because when I
Slow
was
down.
doing this work, we were supposed to be in pairs, and my partner for a while was my friend Natasha, who's Jamaican. And
I know where this is going.
and she's also like 6'3", like super tall.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I remember like when we first started working together, like, you know, I had to learn a lot about, you know, how she was raised and kind of the things that she was dealing with as she was doing this work as well, including having a white partner. Because I think like that's, I don't know, like I feel like that, I don't know. I just feel like that adds to the layers of things.
It does.
What she
Yeah,
said?
it definitely
She
does.
said you wasn't seasoning your food or something?
Oh Lord, Michael.
I feel like I'm trying to remember if well, she used to make fun of me because I would drive really carefully and she would just go through all the yellow lights.
Oh my God.
Because she's from Philly too and I'm not from Philly.
Oh yeah.
And
they are
we would be
reckless.
like on the boulevard and I would like slow down for a yellow light and she would be like, what are you doing?
Keep going.
Yeah.
Just go through it.
Yes. But yeah, it's like, you know, she told me some stuff about her upbringing that was, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
special.
I wonder sometimes, oh my gosh. I wonder sometimes, because sometimes I'll have conversations with my mom and she'll be like, me? Did I do that? Yes, you did. And that was something that I had to learn as well, is that my parents, they did the best with what they had, like the knowledge, right? And sometimes you hold things and they're not even aware that they did that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm in a process now where I'm just letting it all go. Like, my parents had to deal with that, and that's what they thought was right, and that's what they handed down to us. But now I know better, you know, and I pray that when I have children, I never lose my temper that much to like hit them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah. What am I?
And he's over here giggling.
Kids will test you. Like,
Oh, they will.
no
I'm sure.
other
Oh,
way.
1,000%.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And they know what they're doing.
Oh, they
yeah.
do.
Oh, they know.
Oh yeah.
It's beautiful.
Kids. That's why it cracks me up sometimes that people are so protective of children and feel like they're these, I don't know, these
Like
like, little innocent
innocent, yeah,
things because
yeah.
they're definitely not.
No.
They are definitely humans. And
Y'all should
Yes.
see a newborn baby born and how rough the doctors treat them.
Really?
They just yank
Yeah.
them out and
Flip them over. Because when you
Why? Why do you think they do that?
because they know how durable they really are.
Okay.
Whereas you just saw this is a small version of yourself, and you're like, be precious with it, and they're like,
Yeah.
I mean, they
Toss it over to
literally
the
just
nurse.
came through
Yes.
woo,
Yes.
to get here. So I guess they are pretty strong.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to tell the people at home why red wine should never be refrigerated?
Oh. Well, so I don't have the exact knowledge of what exactly the reason is, but I do know that when you refrigerate red wine, it takes away some of the taste. So like they have these things called, I think they're tannins or something.
Yeah, that's right,
Yeah,
tannins.
tannins that give it a flavor. And so it's like when they're cold, they just don't taste as good. So apparently you're not supposed to refrigerate red wine.
So what you're saying, Julia, let me translate. Micah, you fucked up by freezing, by putting the red wine.
When I saw him take it out of the fridge, I was
the
like,
fridge.
bro. I was like, is that red wine? But it's okay, you know. We're all
Oh.
learning.
That's nice. That's
You
sweet.
still got some in there?
Yeah. So I remember when we went.
I'm sorry,
to-
even the
okay.
Woodbridge red wine shouldn't be refrigerated? Barefoot?
Oh my God.
What's that? Oh, that
The low level, like,
white girl wine. That's what I called it. That's what I called it earlier. It's just nasty.
I want
It's
some more
just
food.
so sugary.
I went to one too, but
I like sweet wines. Moscatos.
Moscatos. I have to have small amounts because it's like too much sugar. Like it's just
Like this is dry.
speaking of wine,
Yes.
I remember in the December scene day you were drunk.
Yes. Yes, I was.
And I loved it, by the way.
Thank you.
And it was so natural and it was so good. I'm like, is she?
She
I'm
really.
confused. So how do you prepare for characters? Yeah, and like, are there specific characters that you like and that you go for, or?
It's. I feel like
You didn't heat that up?
it's so. I feel like I.
Don't pour it over the
I know
electronics.
that, but you're looking at me like I'm gonna do it. Why are you being rude in front of Julia? I'm so sorry.
No,
this is like
it's
you
okay.
watching like a family argue,
I
right?
like it. I like it.
And Dara's just eating.
I also like. I've worked with Michael before, and his facial expressions
What's going
tell
on
a
with my
story.
face?
don't they?
Yeah.
You know, I don't like that my face doesn't filter out my emotions. Because I feel like that could be a benefit. Like I don't have a poker face. And sometimes somebody might say something and my face will react before I can filter my response.
Yes.
And then they already like kind of suspect. Did you take my questions?
And they know you're lying.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever
I'm
comes
not
next,
lying.
they know you're lying because your face just said it all.
Anyway,
Sorry. What was your question?
the character that you played
Oh, yes.
for Christmas. Like,
Yeah.
how did you prepare for that?
I think I just thought about what it feels like to be drunk, and I just like imagined that I had this whole backstory for my character. So like in this scene day, like I was this like older kind of loser like woman who like had been stood up on like 5 Tinder dates in the last 2 weeks, and yeah, I guess I just like came up with that persona, and then it just kind of like went from there. I think I like made sure to relax my body a lot to just
Your
let
body
it be, like,
was definitely relaxed.
yeah, just to be like what? Like but it was a little hard because I was like, I don't want to look fake, like I don't want to look like I am playing a drunk person.
No, it was definitely real. You
Thank
did
you.
a good job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
what are some of your favorite TV shows or movies right now?
So
Also, are there any actors that inspire you to kind of want to? Well, I messed that question up. Basically, who inspires you the most acting wise, or maybe even music? Because you also said you like to sing. Who are your influences?
I'm a huge Frank Ocean fan.
He's really
I
dope.
love you even more. Oh.
Yeah, he's super dope.
Yeah, I love
If he comes around more,
I know.
where are you,
Where'd he
Frank?
go? I know.
I know. So yeah.
What makes
He's
you
a vibe.
gravitate to Frank?
Cool vibe.
Also, you know, he changed his name legally to Frank Ocean.
Really
That's
Good
not
for
his
him.
real name.
interesting.
It wasn't. It is now, though.
Oh,
Not mad. Not mad at all.
No?
Yeah.
So if you
No.
have a child and you go through the process of naming them, and then later in life they change their name, you wouldn't
that's
feel
their
away?
right.
That is their business, not mine. They're a whole adult person. Like, why would I care?
Cool.
Yeah, so why do I like him? He has a very unique sound. He's also, in my opinion, his lyrics are out of this world.
What's your favorite album of his?
I can't choose between Channel Orange and Blonde. They're both fantastic. They're both different. Like, Blonde is definitely more, to me, I think, more experimental. Yeah. I it's really hard to like put into words, which makes me feel like that's when you know it's like really you're
Yeah.
really connected to something if you can't like explain.
Yeah, it's more feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Channel Orange, but something about Blonde. Is it Black and Yellow? No. There's a song.
Pink
there's a
and
song,
White?
Pink and White. Is it Pink and White?
Maybe.
One of those songs he has Beyonce singing in the background,
It's pink and white.
and that's just an amazing achievement.
Yeah.
To have a full blown Beyonce on
Sing
the
a background.
chorus. Yeah, just doing hoots and hollers in the back.
And did you know, I think some of his first work was in the background of Kanye songs. I think he sings on what is the name of that album? Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
And also the one he did with Jay-Z, what is it called?
Watch the
Throne.
Oh yeah, he was definitely on that one.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool how they like feature
They utilize
each other.
him.
Each
I
other,
think
yeah.
Jay-Z likes Frank because he's
Yeah.
on Oceans. There's a song off of the Magna Carta called Oceans, which is a really dope song. They just have a really nice vibe. I like Frank. I didn't know much about him until after the whole Odd Future. I don't think he was in the Odd Future, but he was associated with him. I find that watching your social media presence
I'm sorry.
is very telling because you have a very good sense of humor based off of the memes that you post
Thank you.
and a lot of the music. I'm like, what you know about this? And I'm like,
You know Leon?
previous Leon
Who?
from class?
Yeah.
Okay. I
What did you call him?
Previous.
Why?
Previous Leon.
Oh, wow. It took me a second. I was like, what? Yeah, it was funny because I like posted some the Ale Boombaye by Game.
Ali Boombe. What about it?
I just posted it and Leon was like, you have some great taste in music.
Yeah.
I was like, thanks.
What do you think that is? Do you get that a lot? People
yeah.
don't suspect.
I
based
hope
off
I'm
of-
not. I hope it's not offensive. I hope someone will tell me one day.
Why would it be offensive?
I don't know, because I don't want to act like I'm co-opting black culture
Oh God.
No,
or black
I think
music.
it's just.
But I just, I don't know. I just feel like there's something special about black culture and black art and music.
it's
Yeah.
magic.
Yeah.
I agree.
I follow someone on Instagram who's a little, I think she might be a little controversial, but her name, she's the Hood Healer. I don't know if you've heard of her.
The what?
The Hood Healer.
The Hood Healer.
Yes.
What?
She had a time where like SZA and like Summer Walker were like reposting her things, and I don't know if they
Wow.
really talk anymore. She like helped gonna do an album or something. I don't know. She identifies as like being a psychic medium.
Really? For the hood, though?
Yeah.
For the culture. For the
Yeah.
culture.
So
she couldn't tell them that the feds was watching?
No, she did. She did.
Okay.
All the time. She talks about how Instagram is the ops and her shit gets shadow banned all the time.
Yeah.
She does have some, controversial opinions on things like
I'll have to look her
COVID
up.
and stuff. But
Yeah,
I
I'll
think
put it on us.
she's doing amazing work in that she engages people in conversations about kind of like trauma that Black people have gone through and how it has divided people and how it has prevented people from working on like generational wealth or feeling like they have enough self-worth that they deserve abundance and
It's rough.
luxury and
I mean, because being a Black person, especially in America, you're repeatedly traumatized on a
Exactly.
daily basis.
Yeah.
So
just by being
alive.
Black. Yeah.
Yes.
That reminds me of something I wanted to share with you guys. You know, like when we tell jokes, like how you would hit each other and like run, and they're like, "Oh, that's like a Black thing." Like I learned that's like a slavery thing. That was something that was passed down from slavery because the masters didn't want to hear the slaves laughing. So they had to run and put their heads like in barrels.
Jesus.
And so there's so much like trauma and things that we deal with even today that we don't even know that we're like
That's
doing.
wild.
Yeah.
You have to laugh in a barrel.
Right. You
Isn't there
can't
a
have
term,
fun. You can't
barrels
have
of
fun.
laughs or something?
A barrel of laughs. Yeah. That is,
Just
yeah,
got
it's
dark.
like even just
I know, right? Oh my God. Just got dark.
yeah, like she's all about that too with like language, like she says instead of good morning, she says grand rising.
That's too
Yeah.
much.
Grand Rising.
That's too much. I make fun of those people
Well,
because what's good about morning? Morning means death.
morning
and
sounds like
Get out of here.
morning.
You know what time of day it is.
Oh my God.
I mean, yeah,
Language,
I understand, but
it means a lot, though.
yeah.
Language does matter. You can speak things over your life.
yeah, she says
So it
words are
matters.
spells.
Yeah.
I heard that word.
I agree with her,
Oh my
actually.
God.
I'm not mad at that.
I
think-
forget
I
why
think-
I brought her up, but I think
Oh, we
did
were
it a lot,
talking
yeah.
about.
she talks about how Black people are superior because they're melanated.
So.
So what do you guys think of that?
So, okay. I have thoughts on that just because, I have a white boyfriend, Irish, right? And we had these conversations all the time. And I was saying to him one day, I think that white people know who we are more than we know who we are. And so I would
just clutched the
kind
pearls?
of, so
She's
I
like, oh
would.
my God, they know.
Well, because
kinda
I
what-
feel like that's what she's saying. You know what I mean? Because why else? Why else would you repeatedly beat down, and like just repeatedly, what's the word when you want to tear somebody down? I don't know what the word is, but for lack of a better term, why would you want to repeatedly keep a specific race in a like secondhand space, right? If you don't think there's some type of superiority in them, some way that if they knew who they were, if they got together, that you're fearing somehow. I mean, and there's also this thing too called the ISIS Papers.
I've heard of that.
And she talks about Frances Cress Welsing, that's her name. She talks about the just genetic fear that white people have because, when you have two white people mate, you get a white baby, right? You have a black and a white person mate, you get a melanated child. So they feel this like annihilation would happen, I guess. I don't know. Like, but that was her theory in those ISIS papers. So I mean, I get kind of what she's saying when she says black people are in superior just because of those things. Like, why? What is the purpose of keeping someone down so much for so long if you didn't feel like they had something over you? I don't know. That's just my thought. I just
Well, I
have
would say I don't like the concept
my
of
question.
any one type of race being superior.
No, I agree there. I do. I agree. I'm just saying, like, in the context of what she's saying, what this woman is saying, I can see where she's pulling it from, if that makes sense.
Especially when the pandemic started, is like when I started getting into her. And I think, like, you know, white people don't, comparatively, I don't want to generalize, but white people are not as resourceful. Many white people don't have communities.
White, like what? American white in general? Because when you break down whiteness, it's like Italian, Irish.
That's true.
Yeah.
I guess I'm thinking, I don't know.
I mean, could you be referring to just like the whiteness in America, right? Because white is also a construct. Look, see, we can have the conversation, okay? Because white is a construct. Like, it's not, I mean, your skin might not be melanated, but you're not a white.
Right,
Whiteness
yeah.
was created to keep black people in a certain space.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're Italian, you know what I mean? Like, you're not actually white, you're Italian,
Yeah.
you know? So it's not like, because a lot of Europeans are of white skin, right? But there, I mean, I feel like there's some resourceful Europeans,
Yes,
right?
yes,
like,
yes,
so,
yes.
So
Yes.
it's, I think maybe I'm not gonna speak for you, but I'm just assuming like it's the whiteness here in America.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I think, and like what she was saying was, it was also around like the George Floyd riots and stuff, and I think her perspective was like, keep yourselves safe.
Keep who?
Like, as much as it makes sense to want to go out and rally and protest, also, like, see if you can be
You gotta finish that.
just as powerful if you are, and safer if you are staying home.
Yeah, I want to know what I think about protesting.
What?
It don't work. If you want actual change, this is what I'll say, because I'm not getting into political conversations. But if you want real change,
Are you not?
you got to do
Right.
what George Washington did. That's the only way you can change anything in America.
What did he do?
You tell me.
Own slaves?
What else did he do? Did he protest peacefully?
I guess I don't know.
I don't know.
See, that's where we differ. Cause tear shit up. Tear it up. Tear it all up, down. I was out there. I was in those protests. Yes.
Yeah.
He was tearing it up.
I didn't tear stuff up because I had to, I was trying to get in with the right crowd. But I feel like, how else do you show the majority we're angry? Like, we need to be heard because we're marching, we're so peaceful, we're singing, we shall overcome, and they're turning dogs on us. Nah, baby.
Dogs, hoses.
You're gonna lose some stuff. We're gonna hit your pockets. You're gonna replace that window. And you're gonna know.
All that stuff is
we're
insured.
That's insured.
That's okay.
See, but we could, as a people, because we have so much money out in the world. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, we buy
right.
so much. You know, like if we
Yeah.
stop buying Nikes,
But
That's
that
what
might
Hood
say
says.
something.
Yes, she's
that
like,
might say something.
But money's fake.
white
Yes, but-
capitalism is a trick
Yeah. It's a lie.
to drain people
1,000%.
of resources, money, energy, confidence.
all the things.
I'm honored to have that sound effect.
Yeah. Because you talking my language right now.
Right.
Yes.
It is. It is by design. Yeah. When you go out there, you see all these homeless people. Mm-hmm. It's purposeful. Mm-hmm. They got money, they got resources, they could fix it, but it's in every major city in this country. But they got hundreds of billions of dollars to give to other countries. Mm-hmm. Why all these Americans are out here struggling. Yeah. I was just listening to the Joe Rogan podcast this morning at the gym when they were talking about these ranches in Texas and how massive they are, and how one person owns damn near 300,000 acres. Ooh. Why? That's capitalism. Yeah. Where all these people are homeless and struggling. But then they could turn their nose up and say, oh, well, you can't help them because then you're enabling them. And it's not like these people don't have value. They still have the ability to contribute to society if they got the right resources to bring them back to life. Yeah. And they haven't. They just don't want to. Capitalism is a pyramid scheme.
Yeah. And I really do. I think that this point, I know I keep talking about her, but the hood healer, I think that something
I got a hood healer. I love her name. Yes. The hood healer.
Yes. Her real name is Imani Cohen.
Oh, Imani. I love that name.
Yes. And I think she just really brings up the fact that like a lot of the things that are tearing people down are created by white people, honestly.
Yeah.
And also, like, I'm trying to think of, I feel like I lost my train of thought, but
I think it's just not white people. I hate to be that guy.
No, you're right.
I mean,
it's also rich people, because when I think about those super wealthy oil tycoons, they do some wild shit.
Yeah, no, you're right.
They do some really disgusting things to people because they have a lot of money, and their money makes them feel like they're better. I think the real problem isn't racism. It isn't sexism. It's always been classism. This country is still ran just like the old country, by kings and queens. And those kings are hidden behind money. And the illusion of choice is what keeps the population from revolting in the old way.
And they create these problems, right? Like
it's by design.
Yeah, they create the racism. They create, to
keep you from coming together.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so that's her thing too. Is like if everyone pulled together. She
stole that from me.
Well, I mentioned this on Tyler's episode, I think, when I said whiteness was created because before, I can't give you, I think 18 something, child, I don't know, but it was this thing called Bacon's Rebellion, and after that rebellion, there was like misogynistic laws put in place so that white people, so that it made it illegal for white people and black people to marry. But before that, we were on even plane. Like we were working together, being together, and there were no like racial issues. It was harmonious. But then it changed.
Right. So. Yeah.
It's sad because I feel like so many of us have these conversations, and we can have these conversations, but what's gonna change?
What doesn't change? Yeah.
It's because I remember like during the pandemic, there was a crab shop. Am I saying that right? They sell crabs and stuff, right, in Maryland. And the guy was really racist. I can't remember what happened, but when they interviewed him and stuff, he was very, very racist, and he was treating the people that came to his shop demanding answers like, hey, this is what, I can't remember what happened, but basically he was laughing in their faces, right? And so people of Maryland, they said, hey, we're going to boycott this place. Nobody is going to go in there. And a couple of them went out there and protested, and they had like a line where they were trying to block people from coming in. And I was watching it, right? I was watching it on my live because a couple of my friends live in Maryland, and my friend, she was really passionate about it, so she went there and stuff. And there were black people still going in there.
Oy.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, well, he ain't say nothing about me, so I'm going to go. His family member even said that he spits in their food.
Oh my God.
In the black people's food. Like, he spit in their food. So people
nasty.
are like walking in there, well, I want my crabs. Like, this is like the best place. And so, unless we get on a united front, which is probably not gonna happen, because there are people who are selfish and they think like, oh, well, it doesn't have anything to do with me. I'm just here to get my crabs, or I'm just here to get what I'm gonna get. I don't think that. So I guess these conversations are great to spend time and kind of like bonding and to see what we're all thinking. But for me, I rather spend time joking around and stuff, because it's too painful. It's not gonna change anything.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
No,
It's
don't.
painful. It
Basically
is
saying,
painful.
what's the point of talking about it, because it's never going to change. You got to actually have the energy to actually do something about it. It starts with talk, but then
I
it
think-
leads to action.
Okay.
If you're not willing to do anything about it, then I guess don't talk about it.
Okay, Michael. So we're gonna talk about it. What then? What are we gonna do after this? Are we gonna go outside and like rally people and go to Washington D.C.?
Not me.
See what I mean?
I see your point. No, I see your point.
But I'm not the one who's saying like, let's not talk about it. I mean, I could talk about it all day. I got a plan.
I mean,
It's funny because I just had this conversation with my therapist, because we were talking about the fact that I still think about the people I used to work with, who I feel like I basically had the privilege of abandoning. Because like I have the privilege to say, I don't want to work in these spaces anymore because it's too painful. And it's like, but those people have to live that every single day. And she was just talking about, and I was talking about how like it makes me want to do something. Like I feel like I need to do something. So it's like we're in the process of having that conversation, but it is absolutely super daunting.
it's daunting, right?
Yeah.
Because
And
what do you do?
yeah.
Where do you start?
Right. And I also think it's a result of the immensity of the trauma. How are you supposed to have hope when
When we're
feel so
seeing
hopeless?
on the news every other month that
Stop watching the news,
another
for
person. Well, I don't, but it's on social media too. You know
off
what I
of
mean? It
social
comes
media.
up, it pops up, right? Like, and it's a trigger every time, right? So it's still. it's
But
very-
I appreciate the perspective that maybe there is hope. But I see it both. I see both.
I mean, there's always hope, but you have to actually have the will to take action.
yeah.
If you're just going to sit back and hope somebody else do something about it, then maybe somebody will do something about it, but they'll just be changing their situation, and you'll still be in your situation. And you'll be like, oh, well,
Yeah.
I thought somebody was coming to rescue me, but I guess not.
I mean, maybe some people are too a little afraid because of past leaders being murdered. You know, like it might
You don't
be
need leaders. All you
scary.
need is, see, we talked about this on the last episode,
Oh, did we?
something about the power dynamic and how we needed it.
Like we needed someone to follow.
Yeah.
Like a leader. Yeah.
The reason it is the way it is now is because not everybody is born with the same opportunities. One child born in this class has way more opportunity than this child that's born in a lower class.
Of course.
They got better education.
And
they
that's
become
that
leaders.
doesn't matter. Color doesn't matter there.
No.
Yeah.
See, it never mattered. It was
yeah.
all about
color
classism.
doesn't matter. Yeah.
So this person get more information, grow up to be in a better position to lead, whereas this person has the same abilities, same capabilities to be a leader, but just without the resources, the network, the information, and now they're beholden to follow this person when all you really needed was the information. You don't need other leaders to lead you. You just need the information. So we don't have to wait for another Martin or another Malcolm. You already the leaders you've been waiting for.
Oh, thank you. I mean, us being artists, right? Artists can always have a huge influence on those kinds of things, right? Because we get a platform that speaks to so many people. So it's definitely.
I really understand. Am I like? Yeah. I like this discussion because it shows like how one person would have an idea and they're hopeful, and then the other person is like, but see, because Basquiat, right?
Yes.
His work, amazing. And he spoke about all that stuff, like police brutality and stuff like that, right? And I was on Facebook a couple years ago when they when one of his paintings were on auction, and somebody was like, oh, this looks like a child painted this, like my
So
little
does
4-year-old could do this, you know, right?
So does Picasso.
And you know, so I feel like you have to rally people that have the same understanding, and then you have to just keep going. But then what brings it down is that sometimes, oh nice,
Creme brulee.
some people, they're stuck in their ways and they're comfortable.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's like with the crab thing you were talking about. I feel like part of that is also like self-worth.
Really?
It's like, I'm not gonna get, my only option in this world is to buy crabs from a man who hates me and spits in my food. And I'm going to, I have to accept that that is the only option.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's partly a function of being forced to live in a world where that might be the only option, but it's also like potentially a survival thing.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's layered, man. It's so deep. It's like
Yeah.
a lot going on.
Yeah.
But thank you for the conversation.
It's been amazing.
really, really great.
I was like on a roller coaster.
it got really,
I know.
really
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love it.
But that's not it. Like we do a lot. Like we have a lot of like different segments and stuff. So we're gonna go into. Do you have something? No, it's fine.
I'm good. No.
Okay, we're gonna go into like the game.
Yeah. Okay.
So the name of this game. Well, I guess we should wait for Michael. So as we're waiting. Yeah.
As we're waiting. So you took a break from Playhouse, right? What made you do that? Are you taking a break from acting too, or okay?
For the most part.
Did you feel like?
I feel like thank you.
Thank you.
I feel like I'm kind of trying to figure out what to prioritize in my life right now, and I find acting really valuable, but it's hard because like I don't want to, thank you, criticize anything about Playhouse, but I think that part of my frustration is that when I was in class, you know, I would be spending 6 hours a week in class, but I was only active for like maybe 10 or 15 minutes a week.
Yeah.
And I know that that is maybe part of like the business, like that's part of what he's trying to teach us, is that like sometimes acting, especially at the beginning, like being on set, like you have to just sit around, like you're not really doing much all the time. You have to learn to have the discipline to like be present and not active all the time. But I guess I just started feeling like I didn't know if my time was being used in the best way. And I just really wish I could, I almost want to keep going to rehearsals, because rehearsals are where I felt the most engaged and like I was getting the most out of it. Because I really enjoy connecting with other actors. And yeah, so I guess that kind of, you know, I wanted to take a step back to get some perspective on whether or not this was the way I wanted to engage with acting. I do feel like I miss the people a lot. Like, it's so good to be here with you guys. So I do wish there was a way I could engage with it that felt more aligned with my, I guess, preferences. I don't know if that's the way to put it, but
What do you want to do
That makes sense.
in the acting field? Like, you have the network. That's the most important thing. The information's great, but we can get the information we're getting at school from various other sources. But what you don't really have access to is other talented people with the like-mindedness to make films or make plays. You have that already. So what do you want it to do? Do
I
you
think-
want to do more films?
that's the other thing is I think I struggle a lot with self-confidence, and I can't tell if I lack the confidence to pursue those things or if I just don't want to. Does that make sense? It's like I could do it if I wanted to, but do I want to?
It's a big choice.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's.
And I feel like I know what Tony would say. I have Tony's voice in my head because he's like, well, if it, like, I think he would say, like, if this is a question for you, then it's not for you.
Yeah.
So I kind of struggle with that because it's like very all or nothing, right? It's like either you know you want to do this for life or don't do it at all. And I just tend to feel a little bit more fluid than that. Yeah.
So maybe you're the healthy actor that I was talking about in the kitchen.
Yeah, maybe. But then it's like by being the healthy actor, it means I'm not even part of the space anymore.
Sometimes I wonder, like, you remember, well, maybe, have you read the book Alice in Wonderland? You know, at some point, Alice calls the Hatter mad, and the Hatter's like, my dear Alice, we're all mad here. I almost sometimes feel like to be in pursuit of this thing, you have to be somewhat crazy.
That shit.
Yeah.
That's part of what's so admirable about it, though, to me, is like if your passion can take you beyond discomfort, you're meant to do that. So, and yeah, I guess sometimes I don't know if I have that type of passion. It's weird. It's
You ran
hard
out
to
of
know.
crazy, huh?
What'd you say?
You ran out of crazy.
I don't know. I mean, I think like it's hard to not compare yourself in those spaces. I think like, you know, I have my own stuff when it comes to self-worth and self-image, and so yeah, it's like hard to tell if that is what is taking me out of it or if I don't know. I can't really. It's hard to know, really.
Self-image? Why? Are you comparing yourself to, like, what you see in movies and television?
Yeah, I guess like I feel like acting, it's very much, you know, you are the product. The way you look is the product. So I think sometimes there's some pressure that I feel personally, and this is not only from acting but from the world, is like pressure to be a certain type of pretty or to have a certain body type. So I think sometimes it can just feed into those insecurities because it's like, oh, is someone putting me in this part because I am like a type that doesn't match. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I
It's
do.
just
I know
kinda-
what you
I
mean.
know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yes.
But-
Yeah.
I feel that.
Yeah,
I would
it
say
just-
that is a reason why you create your own,
Yeah.
your art,
Yeah.
versus wait for someone else to see you as a particular type.
Yeah.
And that's one of the benefits that we were privileged to live in this time where we can use our technology like phones and all this other stuff to record content, you don't have to wait or ask permission at this point in time. All you really need is an audience. And I think that's one of the reasons we do this show is we're trying to build an audience. So we don't have to go knocking on
Right.
Universal's door to say, hey, am I good enough for you?
Yes.
Look what happened.
It's the self-belief that is crucial
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
actors to maintain, and I think it's incredibly hard.
I think a large number of them feel the same way. That we feel, am I good enough? Am I pretty enough? Or, like, they'll look at themselves in pictures and they'll be like, oh, yeah, I don't like this picture. But the world is out there for the world to see.
Yeah.
I always look at things in a different perspective, because if I think of like my self-worth, it's not gonna go anywhere. And I believe that there's only one me, and I am as beautiful as I can be for me, as Salome. So you are as beautiful as you are and can be for Julia, because there's only gonna be one Julia ever, and so you have to do her justice, because there's never gonna be another you. So whatever. Like, I'm beautiful.
I was just thinking, do you think The Rock thinks he looks good?
Yeah.
You think so?
Oh,
I do. I do think so.
yeah. I have no idea.
I think he thinks he's
I think if he
looks
did,
good.
he probably wouldn't be in the gym so much, trying to improve himself.
Really?
Yeah, I think he'd be like, oh, I'm good. I'm gonna skip today.
I heard he takes steroids.
Everybody takes
It looks like he does. It looks like he does.
Steroids had a bad rap because if you were taking them and doing sports, you were cheating.
Yeah.
He ain't.
That's true. That's true. He's not.
Take
he's
all
not
the
playing
steroids you
sport.
want.
Yeah. Do you guys follow UFC at all?
No,
I watch
somewhat,
it on like,
sometimes.
social media.
I do not.
Do you have a specific opinion about UFC?
I don't. I just. It's not. I don't. I'm not. It doesn't interest me.
I like women's UFC.
It doesn't
very
interest
erotic.
me.
Yeah.
I'm not entertained by it.
Boxing.
at all.
It's very niche
You like it?
interest. I do. I feel like I thought of that because you brought up steroids and
The Rock.
The Rock.
Are they allowed to take steroids?
No.
No?
No.
I mean, they're technically a sport too, right? You know,
Yeah, it's
so
a sport.
no. Right?
Yeah.
Have you seen this new sport? I think it's affiliated with the UFC, but it's like slapping each other.
Why? Why? Like, I've seen
I've
that,
not
and
seen
I'm like, why?
I have not.
I've never seen it.
You just.
I know slapping is allowed
No, you stand at
with
a
UFC,
podium
but
Yeah.
at a podium.
with
Yeah.
your hands behind your back, and then your opponent gets to wind up twice and then slap you in
In the face?
Yeah.
the face. Yeah.
I feel like that's a game people used to play in middle school. Like, who can stand the most?
What the hell?
It's crazy.
They like knock them out, and they're like falling on the floor, and I'm like, you're just begging for a concussion.
Yeah,
I know,
That is
like,
something I feel a little
that's-
ethically
Wow.
torn about.
I
with
feel that way
UFC.
about boxing. Now.
Yes, I feel like
can't.
boxing is
boxing
worse
is
because
so barbaric to
yeah,
me.
Why?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. They're all
Because
CTE is real.
You're literally beating someone in the brain, like in the head.
But there's
like,
so many rules with boxing, whereas UFC, you can get injured in so many different ways.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true, but you can get submitted. Like you can lose a fight to a submission, which
yes.
will not involve a concussion. Whereas boxing, I feel like you're only hitting the person's head. So
You can choose to submit if you get punched in the mouth once. You're like, all right, I'm tapping out. But they just don't. They just keep.
that's
I
the
know
thing.
it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Because-
They love it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I'm like, okay, I guess they signed up. For
yeah,
this.
they
Yeah,
love
you
it.
know what you're getting into.
What does it say
'Cause
about
football is the same
humankind?
way.
Because thousands of years ago, we had gladiators.
I know.
It is kind of like that.
Here we are.
Football is like
They still doing
gladiators,
it.
I think.
Football?
Yeah. American football. I think so. It's like the modern day gladiators.
Have any of you seen the movie Sorry to Bother You?
Yes.
All right, so the slapping reminds me of that game show that dude had to go on. You remember the game show?
I don't.
No.
It's been a
They
minute.
did all
it's
kinds
been
of
a
crazy stuff. It was like he had to get covered in doo-doo.
I don't remember.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah, when he escaped from the company he was working for, he was like, I got to tell people what's going on. They were like, yeah,
Is
well,
that real? It's not a story?
it's a movie.
It's a movie.
Oh, it's a- oh,
yeah,
okay.
it's just a movie.
Y'all got to go back
was
and
like,
watch it.
Yeah, it's been a while. I
It's
saw it
been
when
a
it
while.
first came out,
Yeah,
and
me
I don't think
too.
I watched it again.
Me either, because I didn't.
Julie, you got to watch it. It's so
I'll
good.
watch
What's it
again,
called
though.
again?
Sorry to bother you.
Sorry to
Lakeith
bother you.
Stanfield and Tessa Thompson.
Ooh.
Oh, you know
That's
how
a good
much
cast.
in there.
we would hear about Tessa Thompson.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Tony. He
Yeah.
talks about her a lot. He doesn't talk about her to us.
Really? Yeah.
No, she doesn't.
She doesn't come up.
When she had that movie Passing that came
Oh,
out. So he would
yeah.
just bring that up every class and be like, you should watch Passing. Tessa was my student.
Oh my God.
Uh,
I mean, I like her.
I like her too.
You know. This creme brulee is really good.
I know. I tore mine up.
I don't know if I like it though.
Where'd you get
Really? Wegmans.
it? Ooh, oh, right.
Or do you just not like this, or you just don't like creme brulee?
Creme brulee.
Period.
It reminded me a little bit of that was it leche cake?
Oh, tres leches?
Tres leche.
You don't like that?
No, it doesn't taste like
Do you like Mexican
I
food?
love tres leches.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe?
He's a very picky eater.
Oh, I didn't know
Super
that.
picky.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's this place in Point Breeze near me that's called El Mezcal Cantina. And it's really good Mexican food.
Nice.
You need to try it. You're not far from it.
I know,
Yes.
but I'm just probably gonna cook my own food.
What's your favorite food, Michael?
Protein.
That's a food. You know,
It's a food group, Michael.
Yeah, can you give me an example?
Chicken.
You're boring,
So
man.
basic.
I think it's a woman
Cooked
thing.
any
I think
specific
it's a
way?
woman thing. You guys constantly need to be like wild,
Oh.
and you get
Wow.
very easily bored. So
I'm sorry, but okay. If I ask someone their favorite food and they just say chicken, I need a little bit more detail.
What kind of chicken?
Yeah. Do you know how many ways chicken can be prepared,
Honestly.
seasoned?
There's a few ways.
Well, what is
Right.
your favorite?
The way that makes me less hungry. after
So
I
you
eat
don't
it.
like enjoying the taste of your food? It's just to fill you up.
No, it should taste good, but it doesn't have to be spectacular. I don't have to like sing a song about it.
What's your go-to meal? Like if you had to pick one thing out of everything you've ever eaten, what would be your go-to?
Whatever's in the kitchen.
Yeah, okay. All right.
can.
Can we play
Yes,
the game?
let's play the game now,
All right,
because-
okay. So the name of the game.
Fun
is,
fact: when I was younger, I was dating this. Well, I wasn't dating her, but
Oh,
I was close to dating her, and I was in like my early 20s. And she asked me what my favorite food was, and I mistakenly said what it was because I was young and
Chicken?
honest. No, I was like pancakes, and then she stopped calling me after that.
Oh my God.
in your 20s?
Wow.
I guess I can understand that.
Her follow-up question was, "Wait, how old are you?"
Yeah.
I was like,
That is funny.
23.
Yeah.
Oh, 23-year-old Michael must have been.
Pancakes.
Must have been. I don't know. Were you different at 23? Did you get into trouble?
Weren't we all? No,
Okay.
no, it's basically the same.
Talking about that. I was on the toilet this morning. Like as we all, and I just realized I'm 5 years away from being 40.
Bitch,
Yes, I am.
don't go there. Okay?
5 years is gonna go by like,
What happens at 40?
You know what?
I don't know. It's
you
a
40?
new age.
Not yet, but much closer than she is.
Really close. But yeah, I was just saying that like, and for some reason I'm like, okay, like I'm kind of looking forward to it to see how much I'm gonna change.
You know what's gonna happen?
What?
Your front 4 teeth falls out.
Not at 40.
I think so.
Michael, don't wish that on me. Why
Michael,
can't we say that?
Because his teeth are falling out.
Did
in the-
they? Did
Yeah,
they
they're
really?
falling out.
No, they're
Are you
wiggling
40?
They're
though.
on
They
their
feel
way
loose.
to.
Are you 40?
Almost.
Close.
I'm 33. Well, almost.
Oh. Wow.
Wow, good for you.
32 and a
Yeah,
half.
At least I'm
enjoy
not
it.
25.
Wow.
I had people from Playhouse be like, "You're 33. You look great for your age."
That's the thing at
how-
Playhouse West. They always
I was like
do
21.
that.
I'm like, damn.
Like how? Anyway.
Yeah.
I can't
Anyway,
see
game.
how much
Game. Yeah. So the name of the game is Guess the Year, right?
Okay.
And we're gonna talk about you're gonna guess the year that this famous event happened.
Okay.
And the answers range between 1900 and 2021.
Damn.
Okay.
I'll go first.
1900.
What year did Michael Jackson Thriller come out?
Oh God.
84. 83 or 84.
83.
The album?
The album
Yeah.
Thriller, right? No?
I think it was 81.
Oh, 81.
How do you
The
not
music
know,
video
for
came
real?
out in 83.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, maybe that's why.
So I was asking, like, are we on the same page? What are you guys talking about, the video?
I was gonna. I
album.
thought it was the album
I
or
did
the
too,
song.
right.
I believe it's 81.
Okay.
What a classic.
Yes.
Oh,
was
rest
okay.
in peace. R.I.P.
I had to do a Thriller dance once on stage.
Oh,
Yes, we
is
were.
there video?
Like a zombie, or were you Michael?
No, it was like one of the crew. Yeah, like the zombies.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's so
we were in
cool.
Scotland in the Fringe Festival in high school. We got to go, which was great.
That's amazing.
It was like this tiny
Your high
little
school took you to Scotland?
audience. Yeah, I mean we had to pay some, but
Just
we went to a pretty posh high school.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
right? Even though my high school sent us to Spain and Portugal. So.
Ooh, beautiful.
And I went to a normal public school. It wasn't posh.
I went to a public school, and
Yeah.
it was still posh because it's the parents, man. If you go to a public school and you have enough parents who are donating their time and money, it makes a difference.
Yeah, it's true.
Anyway,
Huge difference.
All right. In what year did the following happen? Cable news, CNN, is launched. So somewhere between 1900 and 2021.
CNN?
Yeah.
Capone and Nick Noriega? CNN?
Is that what it stands for?
Yes. Capone and Noriega.
really? No, it
CNN.
doesn't.
I know you're lying. No.
It's the
There's no way.
Shut up.
no. It's like the commercial news something.
I'm going to go
19
89.
Okay.
89?
Michael, cable news
Cable
network.
news-
I should kick your
Right.
ass.
Cable News Network.
Anyway, you guys, where we going with? 19,
I'm gonna say 1995.
1995. Okay.
Probably when it got popular.
I was going to go way before that, actually. Yeah, I was.
I said 89.
You said 89?
I was going to go like 65.
65. Okay.
I
Did
mean,
they even have cable back then? They had 3 channels.
I guess not. Okay. All right. So then maybe 80?
Yeah. I would say like
1980?
1980.
80?
Yeah. Let's see. Guys, 1980.
Oh,
Good job. I have no concept
Yeah, well, that
of
was my second guess.
Yeah,
so I was way
1980.
before. I was giving it way too much
Yeah.
credit.
I was not allowed to have cable growing up.
Really?
Ooh,
Why?
why not?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think they wanted to pay for it, first of all. Second of all, I think that they didn't want me exposed to like MTV and all that stuff. So all my friends would be like, SpongeBob. And I'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? I didn't have video games either.
Oh.
So I'd go to my friends' houses and watch MTV and play video games. It was awesome.
Nice.
The 18th Amendment is passed, establish prohibition in the U.S.
1920.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I think that sounds
18th
about right.
Amendment, you say.
Yeah.
How many amendments are there? I'm going to go 1919.
1919? Okay.
You ever watch The Price is Right?
Good strategy.
I'll say 1921.
I'll say like
It's probably 1918.
1917. Yeah, 1917, 1918.
I think you're cheating.
No, I'm not. I haven't looked at these. We got to put it in there, and then it tells us. So that 1917.
17.
Oh, wow.
Oh shit!
I just thought 17.
That's way earlier than I thought.
Yeah.
It would have took
It's
them
like
like
prohibition,
3 years
so,
before
yeah.
they got frustrated and was like, you know what? Let's just form an organization and just do it ourselves. When was it?
Repealed.
When was it? Like
29, 25. I
That
don't know.
long.
I have no idea. I'm just making stuff up.
Oh, this is a good
don't
one
know.
for us. The first Academy Awards are presented.
I don't even care about the current.
1930.
3.
What are the
Look, I'm like
Yeah.
1933.
I would say maybe because Academy Awards.
Aren't they up
let's
to like
see,
the
1933?
67th annual?
I think so.
I have
Can't
no
do math.
idea.
All right, let's
Yeah,
see.
I'm like-
19. I can't do math.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
46.
This is great for
46.
us to know, though. 46,
Yeah.
1946.
Yeah.
Oh, that's when you think. Okay, 1946. Okay,
I'll say 1933.
yeah, that's what.
Okay.
Yeah. If Michael's right, you know we're not gonna hear the end of it.
Won't live it down.
Jesus. 1929.
29.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right.
I was thinking
Wow.
that. It's fine. It's fine.
29.
29.
Oh, this is an interesting one. The first images of the Earth are taken from space.
1955.
55.
Yeah, I'm with that.
Because they were at
Yeah.
on the moon 1962.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm with that.
From
1954.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1956 somewhere.
Was it documented though? Because I'm pretty sure those ancient Egyptians probably got pictures of the moon and all the other stuff from Earth. Like their technology was way more advanced than we remember.
Yeah, but they never went to space. And this question
That we know of.
Let me click confirm for 1946. We were
Oh,
off
wow.
by 9 years.
46.
Yeah.
No idea.
Well, I am.
Let's see. The Supreme Court decides Roe versus Wade. And this is something that's happening right now. So I feel like we should know this.
We should.
And I feel
like
like
history
this
class.
is like,
I did not
I know,
study.
and I sucked at history. So my dad would be so disappointed. He's a history buff.
1968.
He would know the answer to all these questions.
1968. Was it that long?
I
67.
75. I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
What is this case about anyway?
Wasn't it about abortion? I think a woman she was like on her how many birth and she didn't want the child. She wanted an abortion.
All right, so in the 70s then.
Okay.
What'd you say, Julie?
75.
Yeah. Okay. 1973.
Damn.
Close
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a prize? No. Okay.
I was thinking about a prize. Vladimir Putin.
We ain't getting none of these right.
We did.
Vladimir.
We got a couple right.
Vladimir.
Vladimir. Even his name sounds
So evil.
Yeah, evil.
Sounds like he's Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Becomes president of Russia.
I
Long
do
fucking
not
time
know
ago.
that.
He's been president for a while.
He's been, yeah.
Like
Even
late
though
90s?
people don't want him to be. I would say 93.
93, that long?
That's what I'm
Probably.
I'll go 97, 99.
Okay. I put 1997. Let's
Put
see.
1999.
1999.
Yeah, him and Cash Money took over.
What?
Oh my god.
Oh my
Let
God.
me tell you guys how fucked up life is. The answer is 1999.
Oh, nice.
Over for the 99 and 2000. Every time you hear that song, you don't think about Vladimir.
What song?
What do you
Oh
mean,
my
what
God.
song?
What song are you talking about?
Juvenile.
Slow motion?
No. Back that thing up.
Oh,
You close.
Oh my God, that's crazy. 1999. Holy
But
shit.
no, we're never gonna forget that.
Never.
The Challenger breaks apart 74 seconds into its flight. Oh, I know this one. I should know.
wait,
this
I'm sorry.
one.
Can you repeat that?
The Challenger breaks apart 74 seconds into its flight.
I think it's 1980.
I think so. I want to say.
Oh wait. That's when that rocket blew up.
Yeah.
That's what she's talking
Yeah,
about.
that's what.
She said the Challenger. That could have been a
referring
That's
Dodge.
the name.
That's the name of it.
Dodge make a Challenger?
In
They used to anyway.
they don't make them
I
anymore.
think they do.
I don't think
they
so.
still make. Oh, really? Challenger? No, really?
I think a lot of the Ford car companies stopped making every car model except for the pickup trucks.
Oh wow.
I think so. I'm going 1987.
I'll say 19.
Beyonce used that in the intro of one of her songs.
The
What?
Challenger? About the Challenger? Oh.
Oh really?
Who did?
Beyonce. Off of the Beyonce album. I think.
The latest one.
Was it Beyonce? At least the
I
countdown.
don't know what you're talking about. And I know all the Beyonce albums.
Do you know, like when, what would you call it? The announcer guy. He was doing the countdown.
Oh.
What's their names?
I don't know.
Big Frida? Was it Big Frida? What are you talking about? In the Beyonce song or the thing?
when like they're sending rockets up into space.
Child, I
There's a
don't know.
guy who's counting down.
He has an actual name?
Yeah, I'm asking. He must have. There has to be a job. Somebody has to apply for it.
Haji, I'm
There's
gonna
a
go ahead.
word for it, but I don't know what it is. Yeah, but what's the
Probably
answer?
a counter.
Yeah.
Announcer?
Announcer? I don't know.
87.
Oh, is it like a traffic control?
85.
Kinda.
Either way, we were going to be off 1 year. It's 86.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
That's way later than I thought.
Yeah.
86.
Ooh, 20th Century Fox is established.
Ooh.
20th
20th century.
Um,
I'm going
19.
1899.
1899? No, it got to be 1900.
Oh,
It's 20th
Yeah.
century.
Like, oh my God.
I love how you just chose a one before the 20th century. I'm gonna say like
So-
I'll
You
say
know what?
1900.
we should name this company.
Yeah.
oh, God.
1908.
1900.
Did they change it to 21st century?
They might have.
I don't know.
That sounds vaguely
I think
familiar.
Disney bought them anyway.
Probably. Disney bought everything. Damn.
Mm.
I think I'm gonna say 1910.
1910.
I think Disney bought my house.
Okay.
1910.
Yeah, I think it was, yeah.
I don't know.
1933.
1933.
Oh, okay.
All right. I'm going to put 1910.
Whatever. She doesn't back me anyway.
You know what? Hit confirm. 1935. Ooh.
Oh, damn.
Wow, that's
I
late.
thought that it was
It's really late.
1935.
You said
33.
I don't know. What
You
did you
said
say?
33.
Oh, you were close. So
Closer, but she
19
went 1910.
Shut
Yeah, I
up.
thought it was way earlier. I thought it was way earlier.
Voyager 1 is launched by NASA.
I did
No
that
idea.
last year.
I don't know my space facts.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I used to
idea.
watch Star Trek Voyager. I think it was the best Star Trek TV show. But you know, they came out with another show called Picard. It's good, but it's over. Voyager, huh? Is that the one that went interstellar?
Michael? I have no idea.
You know, those fools put a map of our solar system on a rocket and sent it into deep space
What were they hoping for by doing that?
for us to get caught by somebody that don't know.
Aliens?
Thanos, most likely.
Who's that?
Some guy with a test.
Thanos.
It's from like
Yeah,
Marvel.
isn't that Marvel? Oh my God.
I'm going 1967. Voyager.
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 I'm gonna say 80.
I want to say
Okay.
64 now.
I don't know. I'm
See,
just,
this is why I can't back you because you keep changing your mind.
You know why? Because in the 60s, they were all about space. But then they got disinterested and they were like, let's do other things. And then the budget ran out.
Okay.
yeah.
So the early 60s, I'm thinking they'd have had more money. It'd have been over by the 70s. 62.
62.
62.
Wow, I'm 20 years old.
Hey, 1977.
77?
Wow.
We're like 15 years
You were
old.
closer.
The first Academy Awards are presented. Did we say this before?
Basically
Yeah,
the same.
I think
Yeah.
it was 35.
33.
33.
33. I thought it was 35.
1929. Are you listening?
Oh
Got that
man.
wrong twice.
All right, this is the last one. Oh, when was the Boston Marathon bombing? That was recently.
That was
That was in the 90s.
No, was it? No, it was recently.
I'm gonna
The
say
Boston Marathon.
2012.
12?
It was recently.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. That marathon one?
Yeah.
That was after 9/11.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it was the same year as Sandy Hook, so I think it was 2012.
Ugh.
It was in April.
You know, there's been a mass shooting almost every day this year.
Yeah.
It's quite crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not surprised.
Interesting.
Okay, what year? 2012.
2013.
Oh, so close.
13.
Yeah. That was the last one though. So
How many we got right?
I wasn't keeping count.
What's the point?
Probably like one.
I know,
Probably
right? I
or
feel
two
Yeah.
that we
like
got
the
like by-
1999.
Yeah,
Wait, before you close that, check
Uh-huh.
what year Thriller came out. 'Cause I'm pretty sure it was 1981. At least we get one right.
Yeah. I'm gonna say 83.
The video came out in 83.
Oh.
What
On
year did
MTV.
you say?
Thriller.
81.
82.
Oh, so
82.
close.
Yeah.
So close. So close.
Yeah.
82.
Before we wrap this up, Julia, we're gonna ask you, what words of encouragement do you want to leave the listeners?
Everything that you need is already inside of you. It's just a matter of uncovering and accessing those things.
Beautiful.
Love it.
So believe in yourself and get to know yourself without judgment.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's a good one.
It's
Tears
all
are
right.
coming out my
That's a really good
I feel
one.
like I said it before, but I appreciate it.
How dare you?
I know, right?
Very good.
Thank you so much, Julia.
Thank you,
for your
guys.
time and your conversation. It was so great. That food,
That
yes.
whole-
Thanks for having me.
So
I'm
good.
honored to be here. I will love to come back anytime.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. Awesome.
Even just to cook and not to talk, you know.
Oh, Julia.
And we're neighbors, so I'm going to take you up on that.
Yeah, please. I have a little backyard. Oh, no, it's not really a backyard. It's like a tiny patio.
Nice patio.
You could record with the sounds of Philly. No, this is a much better setup.
Thank you so much for
Yes.
coming.
Thank
It
you.
was
Yeah.
beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Wow.
Well, that's been another episode of Guess What's Coming to Dinner. And thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week on another new episode.
Bye.
Hi.